let's get right into it. Number 10. The vampire squid. Imagine you're deep-sea diving, 1.5 miles down, in a place called the oxygen minimum zone. It's a pitch-black, freezing cold environment where almost nothing can survive. Now, imagine a creature floats past you that looks like something out of a horror movie. It's not a monster from a movie, though. It's a real animal called the vampire squid. This thing is covered in a webbed cape of dark red skin connecting its 8 arms. The name isn't just for show, either. When it feels threatened, it can invert its cape-like arms over its head to hide a spiky, thorny interior and expose 2 glowing eye spots, making it look bigger and more menacing. It's basically performing a scary puppet show to convince predators that it's not worth the effort. The creepiest part, though, is its diet. It doesn't hunt prey. Instead, it's a detritivore, which means it eats marine snow. Marine snow is a continuous shower of dead plankton, fecal matter, and other decaying organic material floating down from the ocean's surface. So, while other squids are busy jetting around, hunting fish and other creatures, the vampire squid is just chilling in the dark, feeding on the ocean's garbage. It's the ultimate deep-sea scavenger, and it does it without ever having to engage in a high-speed chase. It's perfectly adapted to its anoxic, trash-filled home, making it a terrifyingly efficient real-life vampire of the deep. Number 9. The ghost shark. Your brain is already trying to comprehend the idea of a ghost shark, and for good reason. They're technically not sharks at all, but a close relative called a chimera, which branched off from the shark family tree over 400 million years ago. Imagine a creature that looks like it was stitched together from spare parts. It has the pointy snout of a swordfish, the fins of a manta ray, and the tail of a rat, all wrapped in a pale, ghostly white body that looks like it's been bleached by the crushing pressure of the deep sea. The male ghost shark has a retractable, spiky sex organ on its forehead, which it uses to hold on to the female during mating. Yes, a spike-covered, retractable sex organ on its head. To make matters worse, they don't have teeth in the traditional sense. Instead, they have mineralized plates that are perfect for grinding up shellfish. But the most unsettling thing about them is their eyes. They're massive, reflective, and look completely vacant, like 2 black holes staring into your soul. They're so sensitive to light that they can see in the absolute darkness of the ocean's abyss, giving them a permanent, unsettling glow. These creatures are the living embodiment of a nightmare, roaming the deepest parts of the ocean with their blank, reflective eyes and a spike on their head. Number 8. The blobfish. You've probably seen pictures of the blobfish on the internet, looking like a grumpy, gelatinous cartoon character. It's often voted one of the ugliest animals in the world, but that's a lie. The pictures you see of a sad, soggy, pink blob are what happens to the blobfish when it's brought to the surface. It's a bit like taking an astronaut and removing their suit in the middle of space. They don't look so hot either. The blobfish's body is designed to withstand the crushing pressure of the deep ocean, where it lives at depths of up to 4,000 feet. At that depth, the pressure is about 120 times greater than at the surface, and its body has evolved to be less dense than water, a lot like a big, squishy water balloon. This allows it to float just above the seafloor without expending any energy. Because of this jelly-like composition, when it's brought to the surface where the pressure is drastically lower, it literally falls apart, losing its structure and becoming a big, sad blob. In its natural environment, the blobfish actually looks more like a regular fish, just with a slightly large bulbous nose. So the ugly blobfish is actually just a victim of circumstance, not a naturally misshapen creature. Number 7. Zombie worms. Imagine finding a whale skeleton a mile deep in the ocean. Now, imagine that whale carcass is being eaten from the inside out by bright red worm-like creatures with feathery plumes. These are zombie worms, or osedacs. They don't have mouths or stomachs. Instead, they produce a special acid that dissolves the whale bones, and then they absorb the fat and protein through their skin. To make things weirder, the females are the only ones you can really see. The males are microscopic and live inside the females, essentially acting as tiny sperm factories. A single female can host dozens, sometimes hundreds, of these miniature male worms inside her body. They're basically a parasitic harem, ensuring the females can reproduce rapidly. The most unsettling part is how they find their food. When a dead whale sinks to the bottom, the worms sense the chemicals released from the decaying bones and swarm the carcass within a matter of days. They're a key part of the deep-sea ecosystem, acting as nature's cleanup crew for massive bone piles. So, next time you think about a zombie apocalypse, just remember there's a real one happening in the ocean right now, and it's led by worms that eat bones. Number 6. The Dumbo octopus. The name sounds cute, and it is, but the reality is more bizarre than you'd think. This is the deepest living of all known octopuses, found at depths of over 13,000 feet. It gets its name from the two large, ear-like fins on its head, which it flaps to propel itself through the water, looking exactly like the flying elephant from the Disney movie. It's a surreal sight, a tiny octopus flapping its ears to fly through a world of perpetual darkness. Unlike other octopuses, it doesn't jet around. It's a slow-moving creature that just kind of drifts along the seafloor. It's also one of the few octopuses that swallows its prey whole, which includes snails, worms, and small crustaceans. It basically engulfs its victims, which is a surprisingly efficient way to eat when you don't have to worry about a lot of competition. The craziest thing about them, though, is their arms. They don't have suckers all the way down. Instead, they have these tiny finger-like projections called serene. It uses these to create a current, drawing food toward its mouth. It's a gentle, unassuming predator, floating through the darkness with its little ears flapping, perfectly at home in an environment that would crush us instantly. Number 5. The anglerfish. You've probably seen the anglerfish, but the reality is far more gruesome than the cartoon version. The female anglerfish is a terrifying predator, a monstrous maw of teeth attached to a bioluminescent lure that dangles in the inky blackness of the deep ocean. She uses this glowing light, powered by a symbiotic bacteria, to trick unsuspecting fish into swimming close enough to be devoured. It's a creepy, crawly version of a neon sign that reads, "Free dinner this way." But the true horror lies in the male anglerfish. He is a pathetic, tiny fraction of the female's size. His sole purpose in life is to find a female, which is a monumental task in the vast, lightless ocean. Once he finds her, he bites into her side and latches on. Over time, his body physically fuses with hers and his circulatory system connects to hers. He loses his eyes, his internal organs wither away, and he essentially becomes a parasitic sperm dispenser, providing the female with a constant supply of genetic material. She, in turn, provides him with all his nutrients. A single female can have multiple males fused to her body, just hanging there like grotesque, tiny ornaments. It's a permanent, forced marriage that's both efficient and deeply, deeply disturbing. Number 4. The Gulper Eel. Imagine a creature that is almost entirely mouth. That's the Gulper Eel. It's a true nightmare of the abyss, and its most prominent feature is a massive jaw that can unhinge, allowing it to swallow prey much larger than itself. Its mouth is so big that it accounts for about a quarter of its entire body length. The jaw is a floppy, hinged thing that can expand like a pelican's pouch, letting it gulp down creatures that a normal fish would never be able to eat. In the nutrient-scarce deep sea, it's a brilliant adaptation. You can't be picky about your food when there's so little of it, so you have to be ready to eat whatever you can find, no matter how big. The gulper eel's stomach can also expand to accommodate its massive meals, which can sometimes be so big that you can actually see the bulge of the prey through its thin, translucent skin. It's a literal eating machine, an open-mouthed sack with a long, thin tail and a tiny little head on the end. It looks less like an animal and more like a grotesque living net. To top it all off, it has a bioluminescent organ at the tip of its tail, which it uses to attract prey. So it's basically a living, swimming trap that can swallow anything it lures in. Number 3. The Goblin Shark. This is a creature that looks like it swam out of a prehistoric fever dream. The Goblin Shark is a terrifying-looking beast with a long, flattened snout that extends past its mouth. But the most horrifying thing about it is its jaw. When it's hunting, its jaw is relaxed and hidden, but when it's ready to strike, its entire jaw mechanism shoots forward from its face like a spring-loaded trap, snapping onto its prey with an unsettling, violent speed. It's like having a second mouth pop out of your first one, ready to grab anything in its path. It can do this with such speed and force that its prey has no chance to escape. This adaptation is a perfect example of a deep-sea predator that has evolved to hunt in an environment where speed and surprise are key. They're not fast swimmers, so they rely on a stealthy approach and this bizarre projectile jaw to get their food. They also have an unnerving pink color, which is caused by the blood vessels visible through their translucent skin. It's an ancient, nightmarish predator that reminds you just how many terrifying things are still out there, lurking in the dark. Number 2. Giant isopods. Imagine a pill bug, that little grey bug you find under rocks, but scaled up to the size of a small dog. That's a giant isopod. They live on the deep sea floor and can grow up to 16 inches long, which is a truly unsettling sight. These creatures are the ultimate scavengers of the deep. They patrol the seafloor, using their large eyes and antennae to find dead animals that have sunk to the bottom. They are part of the ocean's cleaning crew, feasting on the carcasses of whales, squids, and other marine life. But the most bizarre and disturbing thing about them is their ability to survive for incredible lengths of time without food. There's a famous story of a giant isopod in a Japanese aquarium that went on a hunger strike for over 5 years, refusing to eat anything. Scientists still don't fully understand how it was able to survive for so long. They think it's an adaptation to the deep-sea environment where food is extremely scarce. It's a reminder that life in the deep ocean is a slow, patient, and sometimes horrifying game of survival. They're a living testament to the fact that the ocean is full of creatures that can defy our understanding of biology and endurance. Number 1. The Coffin of the Deep. It's a truth so bizarre it sounds like science fiction. When a large whale dies, its body sinks to the seafloor. This event, known as a whale fall, is an absolute feast for the creatures of the deep. It's like a colossal buffet table just dropped out of the sky. But what happens to the skeleton after everything else is gone? The bones, which are full of lipids and organic material, become a long-term food source for an entire ecosystem of their own. This is where bone-eating snotworms, a type of zombie worm we mentioned earlier, come in. But what happens when the bones themselves begin to decay? Scientists discovered that some deep-sea bacteria produce methane as a byproduct of breaking down the lipids in the whale bones. The bacteria create vast, gelatinous mats of slime that literally cover the skeletal remains, creating what marine biologists call a coffin of the deep. But the creepiest part is that this methane-rich environment attracts other life, creating a unique deep-sea community that thrives on death. Mussels, tube worms, and other strange creatures cluster around the decomposing skeleton, living off the energy of the bacteria. The rotting bones of a giant whale become a life-sustaining oasis in the otherwise desolate deep, a morbid yet beautiful testament to the cycle of life and death. The skeleton isn't a final resting place. It's a bustling, slimy, methane-fueled city of its own, built from the remnants of a once mighty creature. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.